Alright, boys and girls, this marks the 1-year anniversary of me selling Amazon FBA in Canada, and this video I'm just going to talk about positives, negatives, what I think about it, everything about it pretty much for my first year of selling on Amazon FBA in Canada, and then I'm going to go over my numbers. I'm a Canadian, I live in Canada, I sell on Amazon FBA in the Canadian marketplace, and I'm making videos on YouTube to document the journey. If you're thinking of starting Amazon FBA and you're in Canada and you want to pick my brain, you could use the link in the description to sign up for a one-on-one call, and you can just pretty much ask me anything you want. When I first started out, I wanted to find someone who was a little bit above me, not these crazy sellers. So I'm offering this now for someone who's just starting because I'm a year in, so I'm just a little above you. And the Amazon course that was the best one I bought in my first year of selling, all that is linked below. Go check it out. Okay, to start, how much did I sell my first year? Well, I sold $85,291.67 worth of items on Amazon.ca. Now, the rest of the numbers, the estimated payout, the gross profit, and the net profit, I'm going to be going over later in the video. Now, I'm just going to be starting by going over my year, so you have some background knowledge as to how it went and what went on. So I got into Amazon FBA because I saw an Instagram ad from one of those guys that do millions of dollars living in Miami, and I thought, this is sick. So that's how I got into it. December 2023, I got into it, made my first sale, I think right at the end of December 2023. Today it's January 5th, 2025. So I've been selling for 12 months. I'll put on screen now what I did every month so you can see the breakdown. I have it here on my phone just so I'm looking at it. So as you can see, it's been a gradual increase to the end, which I'm happy about. At least I've seen an increase, but I think I could have done better if I paid attention more and looked at data more throughout the year and not kept making the same mistakes twice. That's what my problem was. So I'll go over what that is in a second, but pretty much how I started my year off, I did OA and RA. Like, I would go to stores, find products, I would buy them online to my house, prep them myself, ship them off to Amazon. Only in December, I think, I got a prep center. So for the whole year, I prepped it myself. OA and RA, I think I started my wholesale around September, October. Probably October, I got my first wholesale account. But January to October, OA and RA. I think this summer, I slacked off a bit because I do a lot of stuff in the summer, like fishing and stuff. So the summer probably didn't work as hard. I think I probably put in more work at the beginning and the ends of the year. And so is it good? Is it cool? It's pretty cool. The feeling of buying something, selling it, making a profit, checking your phone and going, oh, I have extra money. Like, I just made money from nothing, sort of thing. Even though it's not nothing, but it's a lot more work than I thought. I thought it would be, it's not that I thought it would be easy, but it's just a lot more work. It's not like, oh, you do something for a couple months, then you get something up and running. Now you can forget about it and just keep going and money's coming in the bank. It's not like that. You have to, it's literally like your own little business, like it's your own baby. So you have to keep giving it attention, keep feeding it, keep like being on it if you want to actually make something good from it. It's not just something you do once, then it's set up, then you're chilling. Maybe down the line I could see that being a thing, but even how I'm seeing it from this point, I could maybe think it's a thing, and then when I get there realize it's not. Just like how when I never started, I thought after a year in I'd be rocking. So it requires a lot of work. You have to keep putting attention into it. I would say, like, if you could put at least an hour a day into it, or maybe you can't put an hour every day into it, but like on the weekends you put maybe 2-3 hours a day, and then on the weekdays maybe like you try to put at least an hour in. That is the kind of time that I would suggest that someone spend on this. I don't think you're not going to spend half an hour a night or like 3 hours a week on this and expect to see good results. You're going to have to actually commit some time to it. And selling in Canada, I've just sent my first US shipment, so I haven't sold anything in the States yet, but I'm going to do that this year. But from what I've seen and heard from talking to people, it seems the US States velocity is so much faster because they have so much more people, that I think it's when you see these things online, like us as Canadians, when you see these people online just boom, scaling to rock stardom, it's mostly Americans, and I'm not saying it's easier because it's probably not, because there's a lot more competition, but I've heard that you could sell things much faster on the American marketplace. So I was expecting to blow up more and blow up more easier, but it wasn't. And part of that, I think, is our Canadian marketplace. Like, for example, a high number of keeper drops on a product that I've come across that I could potentially sell FBA throughout the year was maybe like 50. I've seen 50 or 80. That was the highest I've ever seen on a product before. And that was like one product. Mostly with the keeper drops, I stay between like 5 to 20, 25 is like the majority of ASINs, I would say, the number of keeper drops. Whereas in the United States, in Amazon.com, I've seen keeper drops that are like 70, 80, 100 a lot more often. So I think when you see these big numbers, keep in mind that it's the States and they have more people, so I think they're more likely to do big numbers and it's easier to get bigger numbers. So Canadian marketplace is smaller, but I still think there's a lot of room that I could make a lot of money on it. So just keep that in mind when you're getting into it. Know that the United States, it's a lot more stuff going on, a lot more people, you can make a lot more sales. But people say that in Canada, the profit margins are better, which I can't compare to it yet because I haven't sold in the United States. I took a bunch of courses throughout the year. I made a video on the best course I took, and if you're gonna get into a course, I would suggest that one. I'll link it in the description below or put it up here. It's pretty much $50 a month. I would suggest that course to people getting in. It teaches everything you need to know about all aspects of Amazon selling. I spent maybe another $2,000 on some other courses that weren't that good. YouTube videos a lot were good. The average profit per item sold, I know this is like a weird thing, but it's cool to know, I found is maybe like $2 to $10 is average profit that you get on a given item, with majority of profits you'd make on items probably being like $2 to $4, $2 to $5. Like the majority of profits are that amount per item sold. How much was I making per month? Usually about 10%, 10 to 20% is like the range of profit you would take back. So let's say you sell $5,000 in a month. Assume that 10% of 5,000 is 500. So assume that the person is making 500 to $1,000 profit, depending on their expenses and all the fees. Like depending on their certain condition, just assume 10 to 20% is the profit margin on the total amount of sales in a month after you take off Amazon fees, after you take off normal expenses. Like that's a ballpark. So when you see these numbers, like these bars of people doing like 100K a month, which is still a fuck ton, but assume they took around $10,000 profit. Finding stuff online, watch a bunch of YouTube videos, Keepa, go to the store. I would spend a lot of time going to stores and buying things. Best method, like they all work, OA, RA, wholesale. I think if you're gonna do strictly OA or RA, if you go into stores, you will come across a lot more products that you won't find online and that other people won't. There'll be less competition on, because less people are going into stores looking for things than sitting in the comfort of their home researching. So I think if you did RA, you could find a lot more stuff than OA people could, but it's just more hassle to go to the stores. Do I think it's cool to get into? Yeah, it's cool. I think it's very lucrative, and you could get your wheels turning if you put effort into it, and it could turn into something great, especially if you do US and Canada, which I'm going to try to do. All right, now let's get into the real numbers and talk shop. Okay, so like I said before, $85,000, 291, 67 cents. That's the amount of total sales, not profit. That's the amount of total sales. So whatever the price it cost the person on Amazon to buy it, add all those things up throughout the year, that's what that number is. I started advertising later in the year, so that's why I've spent $39 on advertising. Okay, and then at the bottom there, net profit. That is how much money I physically put into my pocket at the end of the year. After all expenses are paid, physically put into my pocket to spend is $5,850.92. So now I'll put up on screen the breakdown. So as you can see at the top, we have our sales at 85 grand plus change. Then there's some advertising fees I had to pay, some shipping related fees I had to pay through Amazon. Like that's when I put a shipment through and Amazon prints me a UPS label so that I could go to a UPS store, give them the box and send it off to the warehouse. That UPS label I have to pay for through the Amazon portal. So that's what that shipping stuff is most likely. And then refund costs, so money I lost through refunds, subtract that as well from the 85. And then finally Amazon fees. This is the big one. So Amazon fees were 42,000 and change. that is pretty much the fee that we pay as Amazon sellers to sell on their platform, for them to grab our product, package it up, and sell it. Their fees that they charge us to use the platform, that's what that is. And then we have here cost of goods. So that is how much it cost me to buy these products. So throughout the whole year, I spent $30,000 and change going to stores buying things. That's how much it cost me to buy these products to sell. Then our gross profit after all of the main fees are taken off by Amazon, the automatic fees, is 11 grand and change. And then expenses. So we'll get into the expenses in a second. These are things that I can control. This is not like Amazon automatically charge fees. These are things I buy, like cardboard boxes, like courses, like software. And then after you take my expenses away for the year, we're at my net profit of $55,850.92. So let's look at the expenses here so you have an idea of what's going on. So business, $80. That's probably like my sole proprietor fee that I pay to get a sole proprietorship. Coaching, $339. So I have someone that I spend money to talk to here and there to get advice. So that's what I've spent on her. Personal like consulting, coaching. Courses, this is a big one. So like I said, the course that I would recommend is only about $50 a month, recurring subscription. Great library of courses. Video is linked below if you want to check out that course. It's not my course, but I support it, and the link is a affiliate link, so you support me if you use it and you sign up. Boo, what's next? But yeah, that's obviously not $2,000. That was only $50 a month for like, I think most of the year. Most of the courses came on subpar courses I didn't like, that I spent like $1,200 on one course that wasn't that good, $400 on another course that I think was good, but I just then ended up having a use for it. It was for how to buy in Canada and ship over to the US, but I now have a prep center to do that, so I never actually took up learning it. What's next? Prep, so $208.90. I think that's probably my prep center invoices. Near the end of the year, I started getting a prep center, so that's their invoices. They charge me to physically prep my products. So that means that I don't put the products in the boxes in my own house and then go to the UPS store. I order it to somebody else's warehouse or house. They put it in for me and they send it. I would not recommend doing this when you're new. I would only recommend this later on when you have room to add another expense in your business, and because when you're new, you should learn how to do it yourself so you understand more of the system. If you delegate everything to everyone right away, you don't understand really how to run your business if something were to collapse. If my prep center goes out of business tomorrow, I can do the products myself. I've been doing it for a whole year. I know how to do it. So I wouldn't worry about a prep center if you're new. Yet. Shipping items, $1,000. So this is probably like my cardboard boxes, my tape, my whatever physical stuff that I needed to ship the items in boxes. Software, which is like Keepa subscription, AZ Insight subscription, maybe some other random software things I've purchased throughout the year. So software I use to help run the Amazon business. Test products, that was pretty much like things I would buy just for ungating purposes, like products I didn't buy to maybe sell recurring. Maybe I had to buy enough to get ungated, or I bought some products that I ended up not being able to sell, so I put them in a category just as like wasted products pretty much. Then travel, I definitely spend way more than this on travel, but I've only decided to, I guess, track it in certain parts of the year because I'd forget about it. But travel is pretty much my gas bill. If I go to a gas station, I get the receipt because I'm driving to different stores picking up products, so that's still an expense for my business. So that's pretty much my thoughts on my first year selling FBA Canada on Amazon.ca. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If there's anything that I didn't cover about Amazon FBA selling that you want to know, put in the comments so I could have that idea to make a video on it. So that's my year in review, Amazon FBA 2024.